Ever wondered how a perfectly ordinary night could turn into a decades-long mystery that baffled even the sharpest minds? Stay right here as we unravel the chilling tale of James Branner, whose disappearance haunted investigators for 25 long years. What circumstances led to his sudden vanishing? What clues lay dormant, waiting to be discovered? And how did one final piece of evidence bring an end to this cold case? Dive into the depths of this dark, mysterious journey with us. You won't believe the twists and turns that finally cracked this case wide open. Keep watching, and you'll see how truth triumphs over time. James Branner was an unassuming man with a quiet life. A devoted husband and father of two, he worked as a local mechanic in the small town of Brooksville. Known for his helpful nature and keen sense of integrity, he was the kind of person who would stop to help a neighbor with car trouble, no questions asked. On a chilly autumn evening in 1996, James left his home to pick up a few groceries, a routine task he had done countless times before. Little did anyone know, this night would mark the beginning of a haunting mystery. He never returned home that night. His car was found abandoned on the outskirts of town, with no signs of struggle, theft, or foul play. Inside, the groceries sat untouched, and his wallet remained in the glove compartment. The initial investigation yielded no immediate clues. His family was left in anguish, and the tight-knit community was shaken to its core. Despite exhaustive searches and numerous leads, the case grew cold. Years passed, and whispers of what might have happened to James Branner echoed through the town. Yet, amidst the shadows of uncertainty, one critical question persisted. What happened to James Branner on that fateful night? The answer lay hidden, waiting for the right moment to emerge, poised to shock everyone who thought they knew him. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the eerie circumstances that surrounded his disappearance. The initial investigation began with frantic urgency. Police combed through the area where James's car was found, meticulously searching for any signs of a struggle or clues that might hint at his whereabouts. They scoured the vehicle, lifting fingerprints, examining the groceries and wallet for any anomalies, but everything seemed perfectly mundane. The lack of obvious disturbances in the car perplexed the investigators. Next, they turned their attention to James's last known whereabouts. Surveillance footage from the grocery store showed James calmly purchasing the items, nothing out of the ordinary. He exchanged pleasantries with the cashier and left, heading towards his car. No one followed him, and nothing seemed amiss. Interviews with family, friends, and neighbors painted a picture of a man with no known enemies, no debts, and no reason to vanish voluntarily. The town of Brooksville was tight-knit, and James was well regarded, a man of routine and reliability. The lack of any discernible motive or suspect left detectives grasping at straws. Bloodhounds were brought in to track his scent, leading them to a small wooded area near where his car was discovered. But then the trail went cold. It was as if James had vanished into thin air. Flyers were posted around town, and the local news ran continuous segments on his disappearance, urging anyone with information to come forward. Despite these efforts, the tips that trickled in yielded no substantial leads. Weeks turned into months. The initial fervor of the investigation dwindled, and the case slipped into an eerie silence. While the local authorities did their best, the lack of solid evidence or eyewitnesses hampered progress. The once hopeful and determined search for James Branner began to wane, leaving a void that haunted his family and the community. His wife, Sarah, and their two children faced an unbearable reality, grappling with the loss and the unanswered questions. It was a bleak chapter that seemed to have no end in sight. Yet, as we know, the truth has a way of resurfacing. What lay dormant in those early days would eventually come to light, unraveling a web of secrets that had been carefully hidden for years. The real story was just beginning to unfold, and the answers waiting to be discovered would reveal a side of James Branner that no one could have anticipated. Stay tuned as we peel back the layers of this mystery, leading us closer to the shocking resolution of this 25-year-old cold case. The public reaction to James Branner's disappearance was immediate and profound. The close-knit community of Brooksville was thrown into a state of shock and disbelief. James was not just any resident. He was a well-loved figure who was always ready to lend a helping hand. His sudden vanishing left a void that rippled through the town, touching everyone who knew him. Neighbors gathered in small groups, sharing stories and speculating about what might have happened. The local diner, usually filled with light-hearted chatter, now buzzed with hushed conversations and heavy hearts. Flyers depicting James's kindly face adorned telephone poles, storefronts, and community boards. Candlelight vigils were held, where friends, family, and even strangers came together, hoping to channel their collective energy into bringing James back home. The community's collective spirit was palpable, yet tinged with a growing sense of dread. For James's family, the days turned into an agonizing blend of hope and despair. His wife Sarah was the epitome of resilience outwardly, maintaining a brave face for their children. But inside, she grappled with a crippling uncertainty. Every ring of the phone, every knock on the door, brought a fleeting moment of hope, only to be dashed when it wasn't news of James. Their children, too young to fully grasp the situation, sensed the somber shift within their home. They missed their father's boisterous laugh, his comforting presence, and the simple routines that now seemed like distant memories. The community's outpouring of support was a lifeline for Sarah, offering meals, comfort, and an endless supply of volunteers ready to join in the search efforts. Friends of James took the lead in organizing search parties, scouring nearby woods and fields, but the fruitless searches only deepened the communal sorrow. As the months dragged on with no new developments, the initial wave of communal urgency began to ebb. The unyielding mystery hung like a dark cloud over Brooksville, casting a shadow on daily life. Yet the community's determination never fully faded. They rallied around Sarah and her children, providing a network of support that was as constant as it was heartfelt. The impact of James Branner's disappearance was far-reaching, a testament to the quiet yet powerful influence he had on those around him. The echoes of his absence were felt in every corner of the town, a continuous reminder of an unsolved mystery that weighed heavily on everyone's minds. Little did they know, the answers they sought were lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered. Stay with us as we march forward in this unsettling tale, revealing the pivotal moments that would eventually shatter the silence and bring long-awaited answers to a grieving family and a heartbroken community. The initial years following James Branner's disappearance were mired in confusion and desperate attempts to piece together a coherent theory of what could have happened. The investigators and townsfolk alike turned their attention to a myriad of suspects and theories, each more intriguing and perplexing than the last. First on the list was Tom Harris, a fellow mechanic who worked closely with James. although their relationship seemed amicable, some whispered of a simmering rivalry. Tom had been known to be envious of James's skills and customer loyalty. However, a thorough interrogation revealed Tom had a solid alibi on the night of James's disappearance, leaving the investigators with nothing substantial to pin on him. Another theory centered around a transient stranger who had been seen in Brooksville around the time James vanished. This mysterious figure was described as a drifter, often seen lurking near the grocery store and other public places. Despite the town's best efforts to track him down, he too seemed to have vanished into thin air, leaving behind more questions than answers. Then there was the angle of a secret affair. Some speculated that James might have been involved with someone outside his marriage, leading to a clandestine rendezvous gone wrong. Yet, those who knew James best vehemently denied this possibility, citing his unwavering devotion to his family. Sarah herself, heartbroken and resolute, dismissed these rumors, asserting that James was a man of strong moral fiber who would never stray. The investigators also explored a darker theory involving foul play from criminal elements. Brooksville, albeit a small and seemingly serene town, was not immune to the undercurrents of illicit activities. Rumors swirled about James possibly uncovering something he shouldn't have, perhaps related to a local drug ring or organized crime. Yet no concrete evidence emerged to support this grim possibility. Adding to the list of suspects was Gary Mitchell, a long-time resident with a history of petty crimes and a penchant for stirring trouble. His alibi was shaky, and his erratic behavior drew suspicion. However, intense scrutiny and multiple interviews failed to yield any definitive links to James's disappearance. Amidst these swirling theories, the Branner family's own past was not immune to examination. Some wondered if an old, unresolved family feud or a long-lost relative might have played a part. Every avenue seemed to lead to a dead end, and as the years passed, the theories grew more speculative, haunting the imagination of everyone involved. Despite the lack of tangible evidence or clear suspects, the collective effort to solve the mystery never wavered. Each theory, each suspect, was meticulously explored, chasing every shadow in the hopes that one would finally lead them to the truth. It was this relentless pursuit that kept the community's spirit alive, as they clung to the belief that James would one day be found. Join us as we navigate through these tangled theories, peeling back the layers of suspicion and false leads, drawing ever closer to the shocking revelation that finally brought light to the long-standing enigma of James Branner's disappearance. The investigation into James Branner's disappearance was riddled with dead ends and false leads, each one compounding the sense of mystery and frustration for those determined to find him. One of the first dead ends came from a tip about a vehicle matching the description of a car seen near where James's vehicle was found. The tipster believed it belonged to a man known for his shady dealings. Investigators tracked down the car and interviewed its owner, but after a thorough search and questioning, it became clear that he had no connection to the case. It was a promising lead that quickly fizzled out, leaving the investigators back at square one. Another frustrating dead end involved a reported sighting of James in a neighboring town. A woman had claimed to see a man resembling James at a roadside diner. The investigators pored over surveillance footage and questioned the diner's staff, but the man in question turned out to be a traveling salesman with no ties to Brooksville. Each time they thought they had a breakthrough, the leads crumbled under scrutiny, adding to the growing sense of despair. The investigators also received numerous anonymous tips, some of which were malicious pranks or deliberate attempts to mislead. One such tip led them to an abandoned cabin deep in the woods, with claims of suspicious activity linked to James's disappearance. Despite a rigorous search of the cabin and surrounding area, they found nothing that pointed to James. It was another blow to the investigation, and the cabin's eerie silence only amplified the aura of mystery. A particularly perplexing lead came from a psychic who contacted James's family, claiming to have visions of his whereabouts. Desperate for any clue, the family shared the psychic's information with the authorities. Investigators followed the psychic's directions, scouring the specified locations, only to find that the visions were nothing more than the product of imagination. This lead, like so many others, led to a frustrating dead end. Local rumors also played their part in diverting the investigators' efforts. Whispers of a secret affair, as mentioned before, led them to question several women in town who knew James. Each interview yielded no evidence of any illicit relationships. In fact, each woman spoke highly of James's character, reinforcing the belief that he was a devoted family man. These false leads only deepened the enigma surrounding his disappearance. One of the most elaborate dead ends involved an elaborate theory that James had staged his own disappearance to escape a hidden life of crime. Some believed he had ties to a network of organized criminals, and that his disappearance was a carefully orchestrated move to evade justice. Investigators followed this thread, digging into James's past, his finances, and any possible connections to criminal activity. Yet they found nothing to substantiate these claims. It was another path that ultimately led nowhere. The search for answers even extended to the paranormal, with some suggesting that supernatural forces were at play. While these theories were largely dismissed by the investigators, they nonetheless highlighted the extent of the desperation felt by the community. People were grasping at any possibility, no matter how far-fetched, in the hopes of finding James. Throughout these false leads and dead ends, the dedication of the investigators never wavered. Each lead, no matter how tenuous, was pursued with rigor and determination. Yet the lack of progress weighed heavily on everyone involved. The case seemed to be a labyrinth with no exit, shrouded in layers of mystery that refused to be unraveled. Even as the investigation seemed to hit one dead end after another, the hope of finding James Branner never fully extinguished. Each false lead was a reminder of the elusive nature of the truth, but it also fueled a relentless pursuit that would not end until James was found. The community's spirit, though tested, remained unwavering, and it was this collective determination that kept the search alive. Stay with us as we navigate through the twists and turns of this investigation, diving deeper into the maze of mystery and uncovering the final clues that would ultimately bring this cold case to a close. The technological limitations of the time significantly hindered the investigation into James Branner's disappearance. In the mid-1990s, the tools and technologies available to law enforcement were far less advanced than what we have today. For instance, DNA profiling was in its infancy, and while it had started to be used in criminal investigations, it was not as widespread or as rapid as it is now. The ability to quickly analyze DNA samples from James's car or personal items could have provided crucial early leads, but the lack of such rapid testing left gaps in the evidence collection. Additionally, the absence of modern digital surveillance technology played a critical role in slowing the investigation. Surveillance footage from the grocery store showed James leaving calmly, but there were no high-definition cameras, no extensive city-wide networks of surveillance, and no digital enhancement tools to provide clearer images or track his movements beyond the store. Today, investigators would have the advantage of high-resolution cameras, facial recognition software, and extensive digital records to trace James's steps more accurately. Another significant limitation was the lack of advanced communication technology. In 1996, mobile phones were not yet ubiquitous, and GPS tracking was not a standard feature in consumer devices. This meant that tracing James's last known movements relied heavily on witness testimonies and less precise methods. If James had been carrying a modern smartphone, investigators could have used location data to reconstruct his path with great accuracy. Furthermore, the constraints in data storage and sharing were notable. Large databases for cross-referencing missing persons, suspects, and criminal activities were not as interconnected or comprehensive as they are now. This fragmentation meant that vital information could be missed or delayed. Today, law enforcement agencies have access to integrated databases and national networks that allow for real-time information sharing and more effective collaboration across jurisdictions. The investigative techniques of the time also lacked the sophistication of modern forensic science. Advanced forensic analysis, such as detailed blood spatter analysis, digital recreations of crime scenes, and enhanced fingerprinting techniques, were either rudimentary or non-existent. The ability to reconstruct the scene with precision and gather minute forensic details would have given the investigators a significant advantage. Lastly, the limitations in communication technology impacted the speed and scope of the investigation's outreach. While flyers and local news segments were crucial, they lacked the immediacy and widespread reach of social media and digital platforms. Today, an urgent missing persons report can be shared instantaneously across the globe, mobilizing a broader audience and generating more tips quickly. These technological limitations collectively created a challenging environment for solving the case. The investigators did their best with the tools at their disposal, but the lack of advanced technology meant that many potential leads remained out of reach. It was a stark reminder of how far we've come and how much technology now aids in the pursuit of justice. Despite these setbacks, the relentless effort to uncover the truth persisted, embodying the timeless determination of those who refuse to let unanswered questions fade into the darkness. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the intricate web of this cold case, delving deeper into the breakthroughs and revelations that finally brought clarity to the mystery of James Branner's disappearance. The revival of the case began with a marked anniversary that reignited interest and brought new energy to the investigation. It was the 20th anniversary of James Branner's disappearance, and the town of Brooksville held a commemorative event to honor his memory and renew the search for answers. As friends, family, and community members gathered to reflect on the years that had passed without resolution, something unexpected happened. A retired detective named Samuel Hayes, who had worked on the original investigation, was in attendance. Deeply moved by the continued anguish of James's family and the community, he decided to take a fresh look at the old case files. Hayes was known for his meticulous nature and keen investigative skills, and even though he had left the force, he couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial had been overlooked. With the blessing of local law enforcement, Hayes began to re-examine every piece of evidence, interview old witnesses, and reconnect with those who had been involved in the initial search. The renewed interest also coincided with advancements in forensic technology that had been unavailable 2 decades prior. Hayes coordinated with forensic experts to reanalyze physical evidence using modern techniques, including DNA analysis and digital forensics. The reopening of the case attracted media attention, drawing in true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths who were eager to contribute. Online forums buzzed with theories and potential leads, and a popular podcast dedicated an entire season to the mystery of James Branner. This surge of public interest brought fresh eyes to the case and led to the discovery of new information. One significant breakthrough came from a former town resident who now lived out of state. He had been following the case from afar and realized he possessed a vital piece of the puzzle, an old photograph taken on the night of James's disappearance, which showed a mysterious figure near the location where James's car was found. This new evidence prompted a deeper dive into the identity of the figure, leading investigators down a path they had not previously explored. The renewed investigation also prompted a second wave of tip-offs and witnesses coming forward with previously undisclosed information. Some had been hesitant to speak out in the past, either out of fear or the belief that their insights were insignificant. However, with the revival of the case, they felt compelled to share what they knew. One such tip came from an elderly woman who had lived in Brooksville at the time and had seen a suspicious vehicle in the area. Her detailed description matched the car seen in the old photograph, giving investigators a new lead to follow. As the case gained momentum, the collaborative efforts between the retired detective, local authorities, forensic experts, and the public began to weave together a tapestry of clues that had long been fragmented. The pieces of the puzzle started to align, revealing connections and inconsistencies that had previously gone unnoticed. The rekindling of the investigation brought a sense of hope and determination to Brooksville. The community rallied behind the renewed efforts, organizing fundraisers and awareness campaigns to support the ongoing search for truth. The once dormant case was now a beacon of collective resolve, illuminating the path towards answers. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the significant breakthroughs that emerged from this revival, leading us closer to the moment when the mystery of James Branner's disappearance would finally be unraveled. The new evidence that emerged would forever alter the course of the investigation. It began with a seemingly innocuous discovery, a dusty old box tucked away in the attic of the Branner family home. Sarah, James's wife, had stumbled upon it while searching for some old family photos. Inside the box were James's personal documents, letters, and an assortment of items that had long been forgotten. But among these mementos was a small, leather-bound journal that James had kept in the months leading up to his disappearance. This journal, meticulously detailed, contained entries that hinted at something troubling lurking beneath James's calm exterior. One particular entry, dated just a week before he vanished, mentioned a series of strange encounters with an unknown individual. James described feeling watched and followed, his words conveying a growing sense of unease. He noted down vague descriptions of the mysterious figure and mentioned a parked car he had seen multiple times near his home and workplace. This journal entry breathed new life into the investigation. Investigators now had a potential stalker, someone who might have been shadowing James in the days leading up to his disappearance. The team began cross-referencing the descriptions in the journal with old police reports and tip-offs, sifting through files for any matches. Their efforts soon paid off when they found a report about a suspicious individual matching James's description, seen loitering near the grocery store where James was last seen. Further analysis of surveillance footage from the store, enhanced with modern technology, revealed a shadowy figure in the background. This person had been blurred and unnoticed in the original footage, but now stood out, watching intently as James made his final purchase. Investigators tracked down the license plate of the car mentioned in James's journal, leading them to a man named Richard Collins. Richard had a history of petty crimes and had been in and out of Brooksville around the time of James's disappearance. When questioned, Richard initially denied knowing anything about James, but eventually confessed to having a brief altercation with him. He claimed it was over a misunderstanding and that he had no involvement in James's disappearance. However, the investigators weren't convinced. They searched Richard's property, uncovering a hidden compartment in his garage containing items that linked him to James. Among these items was a set of keys that matched James's car, a shocking discovery that placed Richard at the scene of the crime. DNA analysis of the items confirmed Richard's connection, providing the concrete evidence needed to charge him. This breakthrough was monumental, bringing a sense of closure to the Branner family and the community of Brooksville. The new evidence had not only identified James's stalker, but also unveiled the tragic series of events that led to his untimely fate, finally solving the mystery that had haunted them for 25 years. The revelation of James's journal and the subsequent investigation exemplified the relentless pursuit of truth and justice, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who never gave up hope. Stay with us as we continue to explore the final chapters of this case, shedding light on the broader implications and the lasting impact of James Branner's tragic story. The technological advances that helped crack the case were nothing short of remarkable, serving as a testament to how far investigative techniques had come since the mid-1990s. One of the most pivotal advancements was DNA analysis. In the early days of the investigation, DNA profiling was rudimentary and time-consuming. However, with the advent of rapid DNA sequencing, what once took months could now be accomplished in a matter of days. This progress allowed forensic experts to reanalyze evidence from James's car and personal belongings, extracting DNA profiles with far greater accuracy and speed than ever before. The DNA samples taken from the keys found in Richard Collins's possession were matched against James's DNA, providing irrefutable proof of Richard's involvement. Another breakthrough came from digital forensics. Surveillance footage from the grocery store, initially grainy and inconclusive, was enhanced using modern digital imaging techniques. Advanced software allowed investigators to sharpen the footage, revealing details that had previously been obscured. The enhanced images clearly showed a shadowy figure in the background, someone who had been lurking and watching James, leading them to Richard Collins. Additionally, the development of facial recognition technology played a crucial role. Investigators used this tool to scan through hours of old footage from various locations, tracking the movements of anyone who matched the description in James's journal. Facial recognition technology identified multiple instances of Richard Collins in the vicinity of James, creating a timeline of his suspicious activities. Mobile technology also provided significant assistance. While mobile phones were not widely available in 1996, Richard Collins had since acquired multiple devices. Investigators obtained warrants to search his phone records, uncovering his communication history and location data. This digital trail painted a comprehensive picture of Richard's movements, aligning perfectly with the timeline of James's disappearance and subsequent sightings. Another extraordinary tool was Geographic Information Systems (GIS). This technology allowed investigators to map out the locations mentioned in James's journal entries and cross-reference them with known whereabouts of Richard Collins. The GIS analysis revealed patterns and connections that were not immediately apparent, further solidifying the case against Richard. In addition, modern forensic anthropology played a role in analyzing physical evidence. Experts used 3D scanning and reconstruction techniques to examine the items found in Richard's garage. This detailed analysis linked the evidence directly to James, providing critical insights into the sequence of events leading to his disappearance. The integration of these advanced technologies formed a cohesive, unassailable case. The once cold trail was now a heated path, illuminated by the combined power of DNA sequencing, digital forensics, facial recognition, mobile tracking, GIS mapping, and forensic anthropology. Each technological tool melded together, creating a powerful synergy that led to the resolution of the 25-year-old mystery. The case of James Branner's disappearance stands as a striking example of how technological evolution can breathe new life into cold cases, transforming them from unsolvable enigmas into stories of justice and closure. Stay with us as we delve into the broader implications of these advancements and discuss how they continue to shape the field of criminal investigation, bringing hope to countless other unsolved mysteries. The breakthrough moment came unexpectedly, a result of the tireless efforts of Detective Samuel Hayes and the advanced forensic technology unavailable during the initial investigation. It was a nondescript afternoon when the new enhanced DNA analysis results finally arrived. The samples taken from the items found in Richard Collins's possession, particularly the keys that matched James's car, were a perfect match to James's DNA. The air seemed to crackle with anticipation as Hayes and the forensic team realized they now had irrefutable proof connecting Collins to the crime. But the breakthrough did not stop there. The modern digital forensic tools revealed even more. Surveillance footage from various locations, previously too grainy to be useful, had been digitally enhanced. Advanced imaging techniques unveiled a shadowy figure tailing James at the grocery store, someone who had been watching him intently. The facial recognition software identified this person as Richard Collins, appearing in multiple footage extracts from around Brooksville, consistently lurking near James. These revelations alone were significant, but the forensic journey continued. Using Geographic Information Systems (GIS), the investigators meticulously mapped out the locations mentioned in James's detailed journal. They cross-referenced these places with Richard's known movements, which were pieced together from his phone records and GPS data from his vehicles. The GIS analysis revealed a chilling pattern. Richard Collins had been systematically stalking James, tracking his daily activities with obsessive precision. The combination of DNA evidence, enhanced digital footage, and GIS mapping formed an unassailable tapestry of proof. It was a moment of collective realization that after 25 years, they were finally on the cusp of revealing James Branner's fate. Hayes, with a mixture of relief and determination, knew this was the moment they had all been waiting for. The case, which had long been shrouded in mystery and frustration, was now illuminated by the stark clarity of these new findings. Unveiling the truth required a final, meticulous search of Richard Collins's property. There, they discovered a hidden compartment in his garage, containing several personal items belonging to James. One of these items, a worn-out wallet, still bore traces of James's fingerprints. This discovery was the final piece in the puzzle, anchoring the entire investigation and sealing Collins's fate. The breakthrough moment was not just a triumph of advanced forensic technology, but also a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice by Hayes and the investigative team. The community of Brooksville, long haunted by uncertainty, could finally begin to heal, knowing the truth behind James Branner's disappearance. The breakthrough not only provided closure to James's family, but also underscored the profound impact of modern investigative techniques in unraveling the mysteries of yesteryear. As we continue, we will explore the immediate aftermath of this momentous discovery and its broader implications, bringing light to a case that had long been enveloped in darkness. The reopening of the investigation into James Branner's disappearance began with a renewed sense of urgency and determination. Led by the relentless detective Samuel Hayes, the case was officially revived during the 20th anniversary commemoration of James's mysterious vanishing. The haunting uncertainty that had burdened Brooksville for 2 decades stirred a collective resolve to uncover the truth, prompting local authorities to form a specialized task force dedicated to cold cases. This task force, known as the Brooksville Cold Case Unit, was comprised of seasoned investigators, forensic experts, and criminal analysts, each bringing unique skills and fresh perspectives to the table. Detective Hayes, whose meticulous nature and deep connection to the case made him the perfect leader, began by re-examining all existing evidence with an unwavering focus. The team delved into old files, revisited witness statements, and scrutinized every piece of physical evidence that had been collected. They utilized advanced forensic technology, such as DNA sequencing and digital imaging, to reanalyze samples and footage that had once offered no tangible leads. Hayes's approach was methodical, ensuring that no detail, no matter how minute, was overlooked. Public interest surged as the case was thrust back into the spotlight. Media coverage drew national attention, bringing in true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths who were eager to contribute their insights. Online forums buzzed with theories, and a popular podcast dedicated to unsolved mysteries aired a special series on James Branner. This wave of public engagement spurred new tip-offs and reawakened memories from those who had been hesitant to speak out in the past. The task force meticulously followed up on every new lead, no matter how tenuous. One of the most significant steps taken by the task force was the re-interviewing of key witnesses. Many of these individuals had moved away, or their memories had faded over time, but the seasoned investigators knew that even the smallest details could crack the case wide open. They approached these interviews with sensitivity and precision, encouraging witnesses to recall anything they might have overlooked or dismissed as insignificant years ago. The involvement of cutting-edge forensic technology marked a pivotal shift in the investigation. Modern DNA analysis techniques allowed the team to revisit old samples with new eyes, extracting profiles that had previously been undetectable. Digital enhancement of surveillance footage revealed clearer images and new details that had been previously obscured. Facial recognition software provided another layer of depth, identifying potential suspects and narrowing down the focus of the investigation. Collaboration was at the heart of the task force's strategy. They worked closely with forensic experts, leveraging their specialized knowledge to interpret complex evidence and uncover hidden connections. Geographic Information Systems, GIS technology, played a crucial role in mapping out key locations mentioned in James's journal and cross-referencing them with suspect movements. This holistic approach brought a level of sophistication and precision to the investigation that had been missing in the initial years. The Brooksville cold case unit's determination paid off when they uncovered new evidence linking Richard Collins to James's disappearance. The task force's relentless pursuit of justice, combined with modern forensic advancements, culminated in the breakthrough that had eluded investigators for so long. The reopening of the investigation was a testament to the power of perseverance, collaboration, and the unwavering belief that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, would one day come to light. As we continue, we will delve into the broader implications of this discovery, examining its impact on James Branner's family, the community of Brooksville, and the evolving field of criminal investigation. Stay with us as we uncover the final pieces of this intricate puzzle, bringing long-awaited closure to a story that has captivated and haunted so many for years. Narrowing down suspects required a blend of old-fashioned detective work and cutting-edge technology. With the evidence in James's journal and the DNA from the keys found in Richard Collins's possession, the investigators had a solid starting point. The journal entries provided detailed descriptions of the stalker and the incidents leading up to James's disappearance. Investigators meticulously cross-referenced these descriptions with existing police reports and witness statements, creating a shortlist of potential suspects. They then used advanced facial recognition software to scan through enhanced surveillance footage from the grocery store and other key locations. This technology identified several individuals who fit the stalker's profile, allowing the investigators to narrow their focus. The next step involved Geographic Information Systems (GIS) to map out the locations where James had reported seeing the suspicious figure. By overlaying these maps with known movements of the suspects, the investigators were able to establish a pattern. The GIS analysis revealed that Richard Collins had been present at almost every location mentioned in James's journal, further tightening the net around him. Additionally, the task force scrutinized phone records and GPS data from Richard's vehicles. This digital trail confirmed his presence near James's home, workplace, and the grocery store at critical times, aligning perfectly with James's last known movements. Interviews and re-interviews played a crucial role in this phase. Investigator Hayes and his team re-examined testimonies from friends, family, and neighbors, looking for any inconsistencies or overlooked details. They also spoke to new witnesses who had come forward after the case was revived. One elderly woman provided a detailed description of a car she had seen near the grocery store on the night of James's disappearance. Her account matched the vehicle linked to Richard Collins, adding another layer of circumstantial evidence. The forensic analysis was equally pivotal in narrowing down suspects. Modern DNA sequencing provided a definitive link between the keys found in Richard's possession and James Branner. These keys were a critical piece of evidence, as they were found hidden in a secret compartment in Richard's garage, a detail that could not be easily explained away. The DNA match was the linchpin in establishing Richard's direct connection to the crime scene. The investigators also utilized digital forensics to delve into Richard's online activities. They uncovered searches related to stalking techniques and information about James, further cementing the theory that Richard had been obsessively monitoring him. This digital footprint left little doubt about Richard's intentions and actions, narrowing the suspect list to a single primary individual. Throughout this process, the task force maintained a laser focus on the evidence, avoiding the pitfalls of speculation and unsubstantiated theories. By combining traditional detective work with modern technology, they were able to build a compelling case against Richard Collins. As we draw closer to the resolution of this haunting mystery, we'll continue to explore the conclusive evidence that brought justice to James Branner and the lasting impact on his family and the Brooksville community. Stay with us as we unravel the final pieces of this intricate puzzle, revealing the truth that had been hidden for 25 long years. Key witnesses played a crucial role in supporting the new direction of the investigation into James Branner's disappearance. The tireless efforts to re-interview old witnesses and the emergence of new ones provided pivotal information that breathed new life into the case. One of the key witnesses was Linda Parker, a retired schoolteacher who lived near the grocery store where James was last seen. Linda had a sharp eye for detail and had always been observant of her surroundings. She recalled seeing a suspicious man lingering near the store on the night of James's disappearance. Her memory, though faded over time, was sparked by the renewed investigation and media coverage. Linda provided a detailed description of the man, which aligned closely with the figure mentioned in James's journal and seen in the enhanced surveillance footage. Another critical witness was Tom Williams, a former co-worker of James at the mechanic shop. Tom had always been hesitant to come forward, fearing that his information might seem inconsequential. However, with the case's revival, he felt compelled to share what he knew. Tom remembered a heated argument between James and a customer named Richard Collins a few weeks before James vanished. Richard had been irate over a repair issue, and the confrontation had left a lasting impression on Tom. This account added a layer of context to the relationship between James and Richard, suggesting a possible motive for Richard's subsequent actions. The elderly woman who had seen a car near the grocery store, identified as Margaret Jenkins, provided another vital piece of the puzzle. Margaret's detailed recollection of the vehicle matched the description of the car linked to Richard Collins. She had always felt uneasy about the encounter, but had brushed it off at the time. Her decision to come forward added significant weight to the growing body of evidence against Richard. Sarah Branner, James's wife, also emerged as a key witness. Her discovery of James's journal in the attic provided the breakthrough that redirected the investigation. Sarah's insights into James's behavior and state of mind in the days leading up to his disappearance were invaluable. She spoke of his increasing anxiety and the sense of being watched that he had confided in her, but had never taken seriously enough to report at the time. Her account of these conversations provided a personal and emotional perspective that underscored the severity of James's situation. Finally, a former resident of Brooksville, Alex Turner, who had moved out of state, played a crucial role. Alex had been following the case from afar and recalled taking an old photograph that showed a mysterious figure near the location where James's car was found. This photograph, once overlooked, gained new significance when re-examined with modern technology. Alex's willingness to provide the photograph and share his recollections with the investigators added another layer of evidence, linking Richard Collins to the scene. These key witnesses, each with their unique pieces of information, collectively supported the new direction of the investigation. Their contributions, combined with advanced forensic technology and meticulous detective work, brought clarity to the mystery that had shrouded James Branner's disappearance for 25 years. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the final stages of the investigation, revealing how these pivotal testimonies and the relentless pursuit of justice ultimately led to the resolution of this haunting case. The apprehension of the primary suspect, Richard Collins, was a moment fraught with tension and drama, a culmination of years of painstaking investigation and relentless pursuit of justice. The Brooksville Cold Case Unit, led by Detective Samuel Hayes, had meticulously built a compelling case against him, and the time had come to bring it to a definitive close. Richard Collins had been under careful surveillance for weeks as the task force gathered final pieces of evidence. His movements were closely monitored, and his interactions were scrutinized to ensure that no stone was left unturned. On a crisp morning in late autumn, the team received confirmation that the arrest warrant had been approved, and they prepared to move in. The plan was to apprehend Richard at his residence, a modest house on the outskirts of Brooksville. Detective Hayes and his team coordinated with local law enforcement to ensure a smooth operation, minimizing any risk to the public and to themselves. They approached the house with quiet determination, their hearts pounding with the weight of the moment. As the task force arrived at Richard's residence, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. They surrounded the property, ensuring no means of escape. Detective Hayes knocked on the door, his knuckles tapping sharply against the wood. There was a long, tense pause before Richard answered, his face betraying a mixture of surprise and defiance. "Richard Collins, you're under arrest for the disappearance and murder of James Branner," Hayes declared, his voice steady but firm. Richard's eyes widened, and for a split second, it seemed he might try to resist. The tension in the air was palpable as officers stepped forward, ready to intervene if necessary. But instead of resisting, Richard's shoulders slumped, and a resigned look washed over his face. He knew the game was up. The officers moved in swiftly, securing his hands in cuffs as they read him his rights. The scene was surreal, a blend of relief and gravity, as the suspect who had eluded justice for so long was finally taken into custody. Inside Richard's house, the team conducted a thorough search, uncovering more evidence that solidified his connection to the crime. Items that had once been mundane now took on a sinister significance, each one a piece of the macabre puzzle that Richard had tried to hide. The hidden compartment in the garage, filled with James's personal belongings, was a stark reminder of the horror that James had faced in his final moments. As Richard was escorted to the police vehicle, the neighborhood watched in hushed silence, the gravity of the situation sinking in. The community of Brooksville, long haunted by the mystery of James Branner's disappearance, could now begin to heal, knowing that justice was finally within reach. Detective Hayes, standing firm amidst the unfolding scene, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The journey had been long and arduous, filled with false leads and dead ends, but the breakthrough had come, and the suspect was now in custody. The case that had cast a shadow over Brooksville for 25 years was nearing its resolution. Richard Collins's apprehension marked the beginning of the end of this haunting tale. It was a moment of triumph for the dedicated investigators and a testament to the power of perseverance, collaboration, and the relentless quest for truth. As the legal proceedings began, the community rallied around James's family, offering support and solace as they prepared to face the next chapter in their quest for justice. Stay with us as we delve into the subsequent legal battles, the courtroom drama, and the impact of this resolution on the Branner family and the Brooksville community. The story of James Branner, once shrouded in mystery, is now a poignant reminder of the enduring human spirit and the power of justice to shine light into even the darkest corners. The interrogation room was stark, illuminated by a harsh light that cast long shadows against the walls. Richard Collins sat across from Detective Hayes, his demeanor a mix of defiance and fear. The air was thick with tension, both men knowing this encounter was crucial. Hayes, with years of experience etched into his steady gaze, began the interrogation with calculated precision. "Richard, we've been through this before," he started, his voice calm but commanding. "But today, we have new evidence that puts you at the scene of James Branner's disappearance." Richard's eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape, but the walls seemed to close in on him. Hayes laid out the evidence methodically, presenting photographs of the items found in Richard's garage, the journal entries, and enhanced surveillance footage. Each piece of evidence was another nail in the coffin, and Richard could feel the weight bearing down on him. Richard's initial responses were evasive, filled with half-truths and denials. "I don't know how those things got there," he muttered, his voice lacking conviction. Hayes, unfazed, pressed on, revealing the DNA evidence that irrefutably linked Richard to James. "You can keep denying it, Richard, but the truth will come out. It's in your best interest to come clean now," Hayes urged. Silence hung heavily in the air, punctuated only by Richard's labored breathing. Hayes leaned in, his tone shifting to one of unexpected empathy. "Think about James's family, about the pain they've endured for 25 years. Think about what confessing could mean for them and for you. This is your chance to do the right thing." The room grew colder as Richard's defenses began to crumble. The stern facade he had maintained was giving way to the immense pressure of the incontrovertible evidence. His hands, shackled and resting on the metal table, began to tremble. Hayes waited, his patience a testament to his experience. Minutes felt like hours as Richard wrestled with his conscience. Finally, with a voice barely above a whisper, he began to speak. "I never meant for it to go this far," Richard confessed, his eyes avoiding Hayes's penetrating gaze. "It started with me just watching, trying to figure out why everyone liked him so much. Then, one night, I confronted him. It got out of hand." Hayes remained silent, allowing Richard to continue. The suspect's words poured out in a disjointed flood, a cathartic release of the guilt he had carried for so long. Richard described how he had followed James from the grocery store, intending only to scare him. But the confrontation escalated, and in a moment of panic, he had struck James, causing him to fall and hit his head. "I didn't know what to do. I thought he was dead," Richard admitted, his voice cracking. "I panicked. I put him in my car and drove to that wooded area. I just left him there." The room felt oppressive as Richard detailed his actions, each word sealing his fate. Hayes remained composed, his mind racing as he processed the confession. Richard's confession was a mixture of remorse and self-preservation, a desperate attempt to unburden himself while hoping for some form of leniency. The confession was recorded, every word documented with clinical precision. When Richard finished, the room fell into a profound silence, the gravity of his actions hanging in the air. Hayes stood, his expression a blend of solemn triumph and fatigue. He had finally extracted the truth, bringing closure to a case that had haunted the town of Brooksville for decades. As Hayes exited the interrogation room, leaving Richard to contemplate his future, he knew that this confession was just one step in the long journey to justice. The wheels of the legal system would turn, and the truth would finally be laid bare for James Branner's family and the community that had mourned his loss. Stay with us as we explore the ensuing legal battles, the courtroom drama, and the lasting impact of this resolution on the Branner family and the Brooksville community. The story of James Branner, once clouded by mystery, now stands as a testament to unwavering perseverance and the power of truth. The trial of Richard Collins was a highly anticipated event, drawing immense media attention and public interest. Held at the Brooksville County Courthouse, the courtroom was packed with journalists, community members, and supporters of the Branner family, all eager to witness the unfolding of justice. The atmosphere was charged with a blend of anticipation and solemnity, reflecting the gravity of the case that had haunted the town for 25 years. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Karen Mitchell, presented a compelling case built on the mountain of evidence meticulously gathered by the Brooksville Cold Case Unit. In her opening statement, Mitchell outlined the key points of the prosecution's argument, highlighting the DNA evidence, the enhanced surveillance footage, and Richard Collins's own confession. She painted a vivid picture of the events leading up to James Branner's disappearance, asserting that Collins's actions were premeditated and driven by a deep-seated obsession with his victim. Key moments of the trial included the testimonies of crucial witnesses. Sarah Branner, James's widow, took the stand with a quiet strength that moved everyone in the courtroom. She recounted the anguish of the past 2 decades, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. The presentation of James's journal further underscored the eerie stalking behavior exhibited by Collins, with entries detailing his growing paranoia and sense of being watched in the days leading up to his disappearance. Detective Samuel Hayes provided a detailed account of the investigation's breakthrough moments, explaining how advanced forensic technology had played a pivotal role in unraveling the mystery. His testimony was clear and concise, leaving no doubt about the thoroughness of the investigation and the solidity of the evidence against Collins. The enhanced surveillance footage, showing Collins lurking near James at the grocery store, was presented to the jury, its clarity a stark contrast to the grainy images of the past. The defense, led by attorney Robert Jenkins, attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, arguing that Collins's confession had been coerced and that the evidence was circumstantial. Jenkins called upon forensic experts to challenge the reliability of the DNA analysis and the enhanced footage, but his efforts were met with little success. The prosecution's evidence was overwhelmingly convincing, and the jury remained focused on the undeniable connections between Collins and the crime. One of the most dramatic moments came when Collins himself took the stand. Under questioning, he reiterated his previous confession, but attempted to portray his actions as a moment of irrational fear rather than premeditated murder. His demeanor, however, betrayed a sense of resignation and guilt that resonated with the jury. Collins's own words, filled with inconsistencies and a lack of genuine remorse, only served to strengthen the prosecution's case. After weeks of testimony, cross-examinations, and emotional recounting of events, the trial reached its conclusion. District Attorney Mitchell delivered a powerful closing argument, urging the jury to consider the pain and suffering endured by the Branner family and the community. She emphasized the weight of the evidence and the need for justice to be served for James Branner. The jury deliberated for several hours, the weight of their decision palpable in the hushed courtroom. When they finally returned, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. The foreman stood and announced the verdict. Richard Collins was found guilty of the murder of James Branner. The collective sigh of relief and the quiet murmurs of justice echoed through the room. The judge, addressing the court, acknowledged the long and arduous journey to this moment. He sentenced Collins to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a decision that brought a sense of closure to the Branner family and the Brooksville community. The trial had not only resolved a decades-old mystery, but had also reaffirmed the power of justice and the resilience of those who seek it. As the courtroom emptied, Sarah Branner and her children were surrounded by friends and supporters, their faces reflecting a mixture of relief and sorrow. Detective Hayes, standing nearby, felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that their relentless pursuit of truth had finally brought light to a long-standing darkness. The trial and verdict of Richard Collins marked the end of a painful chapter, but also the beginning of healing and resolution. The story of James Branner, once shrouded in mystery, now stood as a testament to unwavering perseverance and the enduring power of justice. Stay with us as we explore the aftermath of the verdict and the lasting impact it had on the Branner family and the Brooksville community. The journey to justice, though fraught with challenges, ultimately brought clarity and closure, ensuring that James Branner's legacy would never be forgotten. The community's reaction to the resolution of James Branner's case was a powerful mix of relief, solemnity, and a collective sense of justice served. Brooksville, a town that had been haunted by unanswered questions for 25 long years, could finally begin to breathe a sigh of relief. The day the verdict was announced, a palpable sense of closure washed over the community, an emotional release that had been pent up for decades. Residents gathered in small groups across the town, from the local diner where James had been a familiar face to the mechanic shop where he had worked. Conversations that had once centered around speculation and what-ifs now shifted to expressions of gratitude and stories of remembrance. Neighbors who had known James shared their memories, celebrating the man he was and the life he had lived. The relief was evident in their voices, replacing the tones of despair and uncertainty that had lingered for so many years. The Brooksville town square became the focal point for this communal catharsis. A candlelight vigil was organized, a tribute to James and a symbol of the town's unity in the face of prolonged adversity. Friends, family, and even strangers gathered, their candles flickering in the evening breeze, casting a warm glow that felt both comforting and healing. The vigil was marked by speeches from community leaders who praised the tireless efforts of Detective Hayes and the cold case unit, the advances in forensic technology, and the bravery of those who came forward with crucial information. The atmosphere was filled with a mix of sadness for the loss and gratitude for the closure that had finally been achieved. Sarah Branner and her children attended the vigil, surrounded by an outpouring of support and love from their fellow townsfolk. The community's embrace was a source of strength for them, providing solace that they were not alone in their grief and relief. People approached Sarah with quiet words of comfort, sharing their admiration for her resilience and expressing their heartfelt condolences. The vigil also became a moment for the community to acknowledge their own journey through this shared tragedy, the empathy and solidarity that had bound them together during the darkest times. Local businesses showed their support as well. Storefronts displayed photos of James and signs thanking the investigators who had never given up. Schools held assemblies where teachers and students discussed the importance of hope and perseverance, using the resolution of James's case as a poignant example. The local newspaper ran a special edition, chronicling the investigation, the breakthroughs, and the trial, reminding everyone of the collective effort that had led to this moment of justice. As the days turned into weeks, the sense of relief continued to permeate the town. For many, the resolution of the case was not just about the end of a mystery, but also the affirmation that truth and justice could prevail, no matter how long it took. The community's resilience, their unwavering support for James's family, and their collective determination had finally brought them to a place of peace. The haunting questions that once loomed over Brooksville had been replaced with answers, and the dark shadow of uncertainty had given way to light and clarity. Stay with us as we explore the lasting impact of this resolution on the Branner family and the Brooksville community, examining how they continue to honor James's memory and the lessons learned from this extraordinary journey to justice. The story of James Branner, once a source of sorrow and mystery, now stands as a beacon of hope and the enduring power of community. The resolution of James Branner's case had a profound impact on the approach to cold case investigations, setting new standards and revitalizing the methodologies employed in solving these long-standing mysteries. One of the most significant changes was the increased reliance on modern forensic technology. The successful use of advanced DNA analysis, digital forensics, and geographic information systems, GIS, in cracking the Branner case demonstrated the transformative power of these tools. Law enforcement agencies around the country took note, integrating these technologies into their own cold case units. DNA databases were expanded, and new protocols were established for re-examining old evidence with the latest techniques, ensuring that no stone was left unturned. Another critical shift was the emphasis on interdisciplinary collaboration. The Branner investigation highlighted the importance of pooling expertise from various fields, including forensic science, digital imaging, and geographic analysis. This collaborative approach became a blueprint for future cold case investigations, encouraging departments to work closely with forensic experts, data analysts, and even academic institutions. The integration of diverse perspectives and skills significantly increased the likelihood of uncovering new leads and solving cases that had long been deemed unsolvable. The case also underscored the value of witness re-interviewing and public engagement. The renewed interest in the Branner case brought forward witnesses who initially believed their information was insignificant. This re-engagement strategy became a best practice in cold case investigations, prompting detectives to revisit old witnesses and leverage media coverage to generate new leads. The involvement of the public, facilitated by social media and true crime platforms, created a broader network of eyes and ears, turning cold cases into community-driven quests for justice. In addition to technological and collaborative advancements, there was a renewed focus on empathy and victim support. The Branner case illuminated the emotional toll on the families of the missing and the importance of providing continuous support. Law enforcement agencies began prioritizing communication with victims' families, ensuring they were kept informed and involved throughout the investigation process. This compassionate approach not only strengthened trust between law enforcement and the community, but also inspired families to remain hopeful and proactive in the search for their loved ones. Training and education for cold case investigators saw marked improvement as well. The techniques and lessons learned from the Branner case were incorporated into training programs, equipping new detectives with a more comprehensive skill set. Workshops and courses on digital forensics, advanced DNA techniques, and witness re-interviewing became standard, ensuring that investigators were well prepared to tackle the unique challenges of cold cases. The success of the Branner investigation also led to increased funding and resources for cold case units. Recognizing the value of solving these cases, government agencies and private organizations began allocating more financial support to enhance investigative capabilities. This funding facilitated the acquisition of cutting-edge forensic tools, the hiring of specialized personnel, and the establishment of dedicated cold case task forces, all of which significantly boosted the effectiveness of these units. Finally, the Branner case inspired legislative changes aimed at improving the handling of cold cases. Policies were introduced to mandate the preservation of evidence for longer periods, ensuring that crucial materials remained available for re-examination with advanced technology. Legal frameworks were also adapted to support the introduction of new evidence in cases that had previously gone cold, providing a clearer path to justice even years after the initial investigation. In summary, the resolution of the James Branner case had a transformative impact on cold case investigations, ushering in a new era of technological integration, interdisciplinary collaboration, public engagement, victim support, advanced training, increased funding, and legislative improvements. The lessons learned from this landmark case continue to shape the way law enforcement approaches unsolved mysteries, offering hope and justice to those who have been waiting for answers. Stay with us as we explore the enduring legacy of the Branner investigation and its influence on solving cold cases nationwide, highlighting the ongoing quest for truth in the face of time. Reflecting on the significance of solving the James Branner case, we see a powerful testament to the enduring human spirit and the relentless pursuit of justice. For 25 years, the mystery of James's disappearance weighed heavily on the hearts of his family and the Brooksville community, casting a long shadow filled with unanswered questions and unresolved grief. The resolution of this case provided a profound sense of closure, bringing solace to those who had been haunted for so long. The case taught us invaluable lessons about the importance of perseverance and the evolution of investigative techniques. It showcased how advancements in forensic technology, such as enhanced DNA analysis and digital forensics, can breathe new life into cold cases, transforming once elusive mysteries into solvable puzzles. These tools, when combined with meticulous detective work and interdisciplinary collaboration, create a formidable force capable of uncovering the truth, no matter how deeply it is buried. Equally important was the role of the community and public engagement. The collective determination of the Brooksville residents, their willingness to come forward with information, and the support they provided to the Branner family were instrumental in driving the investigation forward. This case highlighted how community involvement and media attention can generate new leads and maintain the momentum needed to solve long-standing mysteries. Furthermore, the Branner case emphasized the necessity of empathy and support for victims' families. Throughout the investigation, maintaining open communication and providing ongoing support to the Branner family were crucial. This approach not only strengthened the bond between law enforcement and the community, but also ensured that the families remained hopeful and engaged in the search for answers. In the broader context of future investigations, the lessons learned from the Branner case have set new standards for handling cold cases. Law enforcement agencies now prioritize re-interviewing witnesses, leveraging public engagement, and utilizing the latest forensic technologies. The success of this case has led to increased funding and resources for cold case units, ensuring that investigators have the tools and support they need to bring justice to other families still waiting for answers. Ultimately, the resolution of the James Branner case serves as a beacon of hope. It reminds us that even in the face of time and adversity, the truth can prevail. The unwavering dedication of the investigators, the support of the community, and the advancements in forensic science came together to shine a light into the darkest corners of this mystery. As we move forward, we carry with us the enduring lessons from this case, applying them to new investigations and continuing the quest for justice for all those who have been left in the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the haunting and ultimately triumphant story of James Branner, a testament to the power of persistence, community, and the unyielding search for truth.